Hey, it's Keela, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about how I was able to lose 40 pounds during 2020 during a pandemic. If you're interested in the tips that I have, please stick around for the video, and hopefully it will help you with your weight loss journey during 2021. So before we get into the video, I just want to say a very happy new year to all of you. 2020 was such a crazy year with a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes it felt like there were more downs than ups. But I hope that this year is an amazing year for us all and that we are able to slowly move past all of the drama of 2020. So cheers to that. So first I want to talk about my journey during 2020 and my failures or successes that I had during that time period. I just want to give you guys an idea of how this 40 pounds came to be. I promise you it was not easy. It was really haphazard. But I just want to give you an idea of what that process was like. So last year, I started my weight loss journey in January, and that's when I started my YouTube channel, where I started documenting my weight loss journey to give me some form of accountability. And before I even started my YouTube channel, I was already on a weight loss journey. So at my very highest weight, I weighed in at 294 pounds. When I stepped on the scale and I realized that I was almost 3 pounds, it really shook me because I always said to myself, oh, you're heavy, but you're not 300 pounds, which is a terrible thing to do to yourself. But in my mind, like, as long as I wasn't 300 pounds, it was fine, So when I saw that I was almost 300 pounds, it really affected me because I always said to myself that I never wanted to cross over into that mark. And I hope that I'm not offending anybody who may be 300 pounds. I am by no means trying to be offensive. I am just trying to explain what was the catalyst for me starting on this journey. Additionally, I went to the doctor and I found out that I was pre-diabetic, and I had also been having a lot of other symptoms and issues, and later found out that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. So at the beginning of 2020, these were all a lot of things that motivated me to want to change and to live a healthier and better life. So when I got on the journey, I started off really well. I was doing everything that I needed to do. I was sticking with my ketogenic lifestyle, and I was exercising frequently, and I was able to lose about 10 to 15 pounds within that first few weeks or months, within a month. And then the pandemic happened in mid-February, early March, somewhere in that timeline. And this caused me a lot of anxiety just due to the uncertainty and everything that was going on. I mean, you couldn't find toilet paper. People were fighting over this. Work being shut down and having to work from home. People losing their jobs because we couldn't go anywhere or do anything. It was a very traumatizing time. I've always been an emotional eater, and so when those type of things happened in the past, I would turn to food to give me some comfort. I mean, it was so bad that I wasn't really sleeping. I was having, I don't want to say nightmares, but I would just wake up in the middle of the night for no reason because I was just worried about everything going on. And so I fell off track for a good while. But after a month, or I want to say about 6 weeks, I was able to pull myself together and get on track, because at the end of the day, I don't know what the future holds, but I know about today. And I know that I didn't want to go back to where I was. And so I just made a promise that every day I was going to try and stick to this diet to the best of my ability, knowing that I wouldn't be perfect, but I am a perfectionist. So losing weight has always been difficult for me because I'm very hard on myself if I don't make the goals that I want to make. Thankfully, as I said, I was able to get back on track somewhere around April, and I was able to lose an additional 10 pounds during that time. And I pretty much stayed on track from April all the way to the end of June. And my birthday came in July. That was another point where I fell off track because my mom had come to stay with us, and she had a lot of health issues that we had to deal with. And it was also a very stressful time for me because I had to turn my focus away from my weight loss journey. I really wasn't focused on it at that time because the only thing I was worried about was making sure that my mom got in better health. I also want to say when my mom got better, I was so happy, and she started cooking a lot, and it was Bahamian food. And so it was very hard for me to turn down some nice home cooked Bahamian food when I don't really get to eat that food at all. And so that did play a part in my weight loss slowing down. However, I'm just so glad that she got to such a healthy place after having her 2 surgeries, and she was able to just get back to her old self. And if you guys follow me, you've seen me talk about everything with her, and I'll be sure to link that video. If you don't know everything that happened, I'll link that video up in the corner in the top right, so you can go ahead and click that card if you want to check it out. So honestly, this was probably the worst time of the year because I truly tried to stay on track as best as I could, but I definitely succumbed to a lot of the emotional eating during that time. And so I said to myself, I said, if I don't figure out a way to deal with all of these stresses and triggers that I have, that I would just go back and fall back into old habits. That's when I decided that I would just start walking as much as I can and just being as active as I can. Even if I fell off track or whatever, I would just continue to walk. And if I didn't eat a meal that was keto, I made sure that the next meal I had was keto and that I just got back on track as best as I could. Around October, I was able to truly get back on track, and I was able to finally lose an additional 5 to 7 pounds. Thanksgiving came. I knew that I was going to cheat, but I made sure that it wasn't an overindulgent way of cheating. And so once Thanksgiving happened, I got right back on the saddle and I worked on getting to where I needed to go. I ended the year at getting to my lowest weight, which was 251.4 pounds. So as you guys know, at the end of the year, I had a goal of getting under 250 pounds. I really wanted to reach 249.8 pounds. However, I did not reach that goal. What happened is I did a 5-day egg fast. I wanted to test that out. I wanted to see if that would help me get to my goal. But once I ended the egg fast and I started eating normally, the next day I gained about 3 to 4 pounds of water weight. And so I knew at that point that the game was over and I was not going to be able to make that goal. And it also made me realize I don't think I like egg fast, or maybe I did something wrong and I should have transitioned and not just gone straight into eating how I normally would eat. So that is a word of warning to the wise. So currently today, I sit at a weight of 252.8 pounds. So not too far off from the lowest weight that I was in 2020, but obviously not where I wanted to be exactly. But that's okay, because that is also motivation for me to continue on doing what I need to do within 2021 to get to the goals that I want to get to. My original starting weight is 294 pounds, so that puts me at a total weight loss of 41.2 pounds. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and give you the 4 tips that truly did help me to lose this 41.2 pounds during 2020. Honestly, I'm not reinventing the wheel. If you've watched weight loss videos before, you probably know a lot of these tips, but I wanted to put this out there for anybody who hasn't heard them or who needs that level of motivation to get on track and to get it done for 2021. So tip number one, I stayed active and I moved as much as I could. It doesn't matter if I was on keto or off keto. I just made it a point to move, and this really helped me because it did slowly start to become a thing that I got so used to that if I got really upset about something, I would actually go and take a walk to cool off. And so I feel as though now I'm at a place where sometimes if I get upset, it's a 50-50. I might just go and take a walk, or I might go and eat something. And so that's not perfect, but I feel like it's a lot better than always going to food 100% of the time. Walking was very helpful to me. If you're an emotional eater, get active, make it a habit, because when you do have those stressful moments or those emotional moments, you have something else that you enjoy, that you can give yourself an out, you can give yourself an option to do the best thing for you in that moment. Another thing that really helped me was, even though I fell off track, and I know this is going to sound really crazy because I just explained to you guys how many times I fell off track, but when I did fall off track and I got back on track, I was very disciplined during those times. Like when I made up my mind during those times that I was going to be on track, there was no, halfway. I just went in hard. I knew Monday to Fridays were pretty easy for me. I'm busy, I'm doing stuff, I'm working, I'm cooking, I'm just doing all kinds of things, I'm walking. And so it's easy for me to like forget it a little bit and just kind of go about my day and stay on track. The weekends were the most difficult for me, and they still are, but they're easier now. When I thought about how well I did during the week, and I said to myself, do you want to undo everything that you've done? And I thought about my goal and my purpose. And my purpose is not just to lose weight, but losing weight is one of the ways that's gonna get me healthier, get me in the BMI that I wanna be. Losing this weight is gonna help me reverse my insulin resistance so that I won't be pre-diabetic anymore. So I always try to explain to myself the why, and the why is what helps you with your discipline, because you can say that you want to be disciplined and you can say, oh, just do it, but it's hard to get yourself up to just do it when your why isn't strong enough. If your only why is that you want to fit in to some jeans that you couldn't fit in before, that might be enough for some people, but I know that for a lot of people that is not enough. That's not going to give you enough reason to keep going when you don't feel like it. So make sure your why is strong enough to keep you going and to get you disciplined, because motivation is not going to keep you. I promise you, I get motivated all the time, and 2 days later, my motivation is gone. The one thing that I'm truly grateful for 2024 is that I have never been this disciplined in my life. I promise you, if you can figure out the discipline, everything else will fall into place. Number 3, this kind of goes in line with number 1, which is to be active. But number 3 is to manage your stress. Try not to stress yourself. If you are feeling stressed, try to do things that are gonna reduce that stress. I know for me, I got into journaling. So if I did feel like I needed to get things off my chest, I would go ahead and write. Also, I would sit on my back patio and just drink, just have a nice fizzy drink, listen to some music, watch the sunset, go for a walk, take a soak in the tub, anything that puts you in a good mood. And sometimes even I would just go on an endless spiral and watch some Netflix if I'm in a bad mood. It's not the best thing, but it's better than hopping in the kitchen and eating your feelings, So like I said, manage stress. It's going to be very key if you're an emotional eater. And finally, the last thing that really did help me is getting more sleep. I know it sounds kind of silly in a way because it's like, oh, how does sleep help? But sleep really does help. Your body burns a lot of calories when you're sleeping. And also, when I'm hungry during the night, I'm that type of person that once it gets later in the evening, I kind of want to eat. That's why even though I do OMAD, I try to put my meals kind of later in the day. So I always try to aim for like 2 or 3. I never make it, but for me, later in the day is like 1 or 2 p.m. But if you can go longer, if you can eat your meal at like 3 or 4, and that works for you, then do it. Especially if you're a person who ends up snacking in the night. But like I said, if I feel really hungry during the night, I will just drink some water, right? Or some tea, and I will go to bed. That really did help me a lot. Just go to sleep. I hope that you guys found this video helpful and that you will implement these suggestions and these tips that I gave you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.